Welcome to Wide Angle. I am Uday Bhaskar. Today we are discussing the Prime Minister's advice to the DRDO, the Defence Research and Development Organization, which is a part of the Ministry of Defence. Speaking to the DRDO scientists at an award giving function, the Prime Minister compared them to the rishis of old, and while commending them for their contribution in the overall national security effort, he also exhorted them to make a concerted effort and address the many challenges that face the country in relation to self-sufficiency in critical areas of military inventory. The stark truth is that while the DRDO and other agencies of the government have made a significant contribution in domains such as the nuclear, missile, space and underwater propulsion and surveillance, India still imports up to 70% of its military inventory. This dilutes India's quest for strategic autonomy and freedom of decision making in the international arena. Prime Minister Modi outlined some new ideas, and among them was the need to attract India's youth in harnessing both intellectual capability and technology for national security. Let's listen to what the Prime Minister had to say.
Use technology to achieve developmental objectives before time. This is the agenda the Prime Minister laid in front of scientists to make India a global leader. Addressing the DRDO Labs annual awards function, the Prime Minister emphasized on promoting defence research in the country. He suggested the ideas from the officers of all the three defence wings should be taken in this regard, as they have practical knowledge of the difficulties faced in defence sector.
तीनों हमारे दल को, जल सेना, थल सेना, नभ सेना, उनमें भी जो एक्चुअली जो आज सेवा में रत है, उनको कहा जाए कि आप में कोई इनोवेटिव आइडियाज होंगे तो उसका भी कंपटीशन होगा. हमने इसको प्रमोट करना चाहिए और एक एक्सटेंशन ऑफ द डीआरडीओ टाइप हमने इवॉल्व करना चाहिए. अगर ये करते हैं तो हमारे तीनों क्षेत्र में काम करने वाले इस प्रकार के टैलेंट वाले जो फौजी हैं, अफसर हैं, वे मैं मानता हूं ज्यादा प्रैक्टिकल सॉल्यूशंस हमें दे सकते हैं या हमें स्पेसिफिक रिसर्च को आइडिया दे सकते हैं. इस समस्या का समाधान दो और डीआरडीओ कर सकते हैं.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi also urged DRDO to identify research-specific universities and conduct scientist students into. The Prime Minister also emphasized on utilizing young talents and asked DRDO to identify multi-lab where all the employees should be under 35 years of age.
मल्टी टैलेंट का उपयोग करने वाली जो व्यवस्था है, ऐसी 5 लैब हम ढूंढे 50%. हर एक डिसीजन ले कि 5 लैब ऐसी होगी जिसमें नीचे से ऊपर एक भी व्यक्ति 35 एज ग्रुप से ऊपर का नहीं होगा. सबके सब बिलो 35. अल्टीमेट डिसीजन लेने वाले भी 35 के नीचे के होंगे. एक बार हिम्मत के साथ हिंदुस्तान की यंगेस्ट टैलेंट को हम अवसर दें और उनको बताएं कि दुनिया आगे बढ़ रही है. आप बताओ. मैं विश्वास से कहता हूं देश की टैलेंट में दम है, वो हमें बहुत कुछ नई चीजें दे सकता है.
To discuss these matters, as always, we have an eminent panel. Dr. Arvind Virmani, former Chief Economic Advisor to the Government of India, Lieutenant General Lamba, former Vice Chief of the Army, and Marshal Kapil Kak, a noted security analyst. There are a number of issues that need to be identified. I thought we'd pick up two strands. One is to talk about the experience of the armed forces and the nation in terms of discrete military capability, and the other is about policy related issues, foreign direct investment or the participation of the private sector. So perhaps General Lamba, if I could start with you, the Indian Army, the lead service for the country, what has been the experience of the Indian Army in relation to indigenization, say particularly armor, the main battle tank, artillery, the famous Bofors gun. What has been the experience of the Army in relation to indigenization? And then we'll come to the DRDO part.
I think it will be a very appropriate start point, sir. And I think it's important to understand the entire perspective. Briefly, I'll touch what do we see Bofors and the main battle tank as a reflection, not just as equipment, but they are a reflection of the last 3 to 4 decades of the evolution of research and developments. They are both virtually household names with all 3 services, and we understand that they are more in the context of being concerns for operational readiness than really comfort zones or confidence. With that as a reflection, we see it from 2 perspectives. The Army perspective, certainly, like I said, a huge concern. Are we just ready? And these are only 2 equipment to name across a vast spectrum that is following the same track. The famous Bofors, 1986-87, and today, almost 25 to 30 years down the line, we still have not been able to replicate anything which is meaning or as steady and advanced as it was in its contemporary time. A very good gun, but today technologically almost outdated in context of the warfare of maneuver and high mobility. More important from a DRDO perspective, since we are talking in that context, it's also important to draw that there is a huge delay in the advancement in terms of technology. We are trying to pick up the 86 technology which would have come in that period or a few years down the line to construct a gun in the Indian gun factories in Jabalpur.
If I could just pause here, General Lamba, would it be fair then to say that as far as the Army is concerned, the Prime Minister also spoke about the need to be in step with time or ahead, that in the last 30 years we have not been able to satisfactorily acquire either an artillery gun or a main battle tank. I mean, if that is the experience of the Army, let me turn to Air Marshal Kak. Kapil, what would you say about the Air Force and the effort at indigenization?
Well, I think I see Prime Minister Modi's address to DRDO contextualized also by his words at the time of commissioning of INS Kolkata, extremely significant. He's contextualizing capacity in defense with India's growth and development as a nation and as a power in the context of safety of sea lanes and so on and so forth, insofar as Kolkata went. Equally significant is Mr. Arun Jaitley's address to the Sri Ram College of Commerce, where he said India cannot have peace and development unless there is defense capability and capacity. So if I see these 3 statements together and then link it up with the question you posed, Air Force has been a mixed experience. Let me share with the viewers the fact that India had a design and development bureau for aircraft in the Hindustan Aeronautics Limited within 8 months of independence. To an aircraft called the Trainer 2, the base craft, manufactured in India in 19. Had the Marut HF-24 part in 71, indigenously and manufactured. The problem was with the engine. Unfortunately, it got failed. Starting with excellent foundation, unfortunately the conflict took away the attention. Design and development indigenously took rapid acts as part of that lack in the fight ability in